How we doing, people? Welcome back to Get Amped. It's been a while, hasn't it? But, oh boy, Derby weekend certainly delivered a lot of talking points. We had the Manchester Derby today. We had the North London Derby yesterday. We had another Derby yesterday at 3 o'clock, which didn't go my team's way, but it went Chelsea's way in the end. But, people, we're here for Get Amped. So if you want to have your say, I'll put the link in the chat now. Just bear with me here 1 second. Yeah, it's fair to say it's been a weekend for some people and not for others, but the link is in the chat, people. But let's address the comments first and foremost. How you doing, AFC Bournemouth Fan TV? How you doing, mate? You good? Once I've caught, big up to CM. Big up to Louis. There's the link, people. The link is there in the chat if you want to jump in, have your say. And we have our first caller. Of course, he's here to rub more salt in the wound after yesterday. Big up to Hanif. What are you saying, mate?
Evening, Paul. Hope you're doing well, mate.
Yeah, mate, I'm all good. I'm just in shock of that Manchester derby. We've seen these kind of games before, but that was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. I've come to provide a mental health counseling session for all those United fans because what I actually I actually thought, Nate, because it's a derby, I thought, you know what, we might get one half of competitive football. You know where United sit in deep and play on the counter. And what I was watching, they were so open, and I just thought to myself, what are you lot doing? Ollie ball. It's Ollie ball you need to play. And it didn't make any sense to me. McTominay can't make a 5 yard pass. And it was just shocking. Ericsson marking Haaland from a corner kick. And I just think Eric Ten Hag is to blame today for Manchester United's loss because they were set up wrong. They really were. They were trying to play open football. A lot of people will reflect on the fact that they scored 3 goals on the 72nd minute. Pep made 4 subs. That's the biggest mick that he's taken the biggest piss there. He made 4 subs. When does Pep make 4 subs in a game, Nate? Ask yourself that question.
Never. He doesn't.
And I feel for the United fans because a lot of those guys that made their way there, they left at half time. Honestly, they were showing it on Sky Sports. They left at half time, and it was disappointing. The thing, what annoys me, Nate? Why does the manager need to tell the players to do basics of football? So, say for example, you lose the ball in midfield like Scott McTominay did. Go and win the ball back. Does the manager need to really tell you the basics of football? Does he really need to say to players like Rashford and Sancho and the midfield, drop back 5 to 10 yards? And I'm sorry, sometimes you just need to use a bit of common sense. It is Ten Hag's fault in terms of the setup, but the players on the pitch can use their own brains and just think, you know what, we're not close enough to our defense. We need to protect our defense. And Varane got injured. He didn't have a good game. Everyone said that this Martinez kid was going to do some on Haaland. Friggin' hell, he did nothing today. And I think ultimately, Manchester United have been taught a lesson on how far they really are. And if they want to, and Ten Hag's got a big job in front of him, it's going to take him 3 to 5 years. I always said, but bigging up this team far too early after 7, 8 games, it was not a good idea. And it was disappointing as a neutral. I was thinking I might see a competitive game of football, but listen, all I would say is this: Haaland was amazing. Phil Foden was absolutely beautiful. That guy's England's #1. The team needs to be built around him. I don't care what anyone says. Foden is the guy, and De Bruyne, Silva on these. Honestly, it was magical. Did you see that Akanji? That guy looked like he had the same physique as Vincent Company. I thought I was seeing Company in midfield. I was like, bloody hell, he looks massive. That guy does.
Yeah.
But you know
One
what?
second,
You've got to
Hanif.
give City credit.
Yeah, 1 second, Hanif. Munzi, big up, mate. How you doing?
Well, I've been better, haven't I? Fucking hell. So that shower shite.
Listen,
Yeah.
every team has their bad days, mate. Don't worry about it. For every good day, you have to have a bad day.
They just fell apart. Just the whole midfield fell apart. Everyone just I think Neville kept saying, "Oh, they look nervous." Why are you nervous? Just nothing, was it? I couldn't fucking. My stream was playing up, so I didn't see most of the game. But yeah, just awful. You know, City should have won 8-0. To be fair, they just let us have them couple of goals, so it didn't look so bad. But I told everyone when Haaland joins City, they'll win a lot and they'll win the Champions League. No one's near City. Arsenal fans think they're anywhere near. No, not one team is near City. City will do that to other teams. But yeah, just horrible.
Look, you know better than anyone. Unfortunately, they're just a machine, and it doesn't matter what combinations they play. You just know they've got that in them. Obviously, you're looking at it thinking, would you rather lose 6-3 or 3-0? Same margin of the scoreline.
I'd rather, yeah. Well, maybe some of these players. Everyone knows that some of these players need to go. Ronaldo needs to go. I don't care what everyone's saying. Ronaldo needs to go. Something's happening there. Maguire can go. Shaw can go. The only thing I could it wasn't Ten Hag's fault, but the only thing I'd have done is change the whole I'd have at 4-0 down at half time and I took McTominay off, changed the midfield, just changed it because we lost it at half time and he just didn't. He's not changed it, but I don't know. Maybe he's just as shocked as what we are.
Sorry, I just realised I was muted there.
Bring back Rich.
Hey, Rich is famous for muting himself on Get Amped, so. But I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking, okay, it's at the Etihad. City will be wanting to win this to send a statement to the rest of the league. As you say, Munzi, some Arsenal fans are saying that they're close to competing with City. Arsenal are the best of a bad bunch. Let's be real.
Arsenal were 2 injuries away from finishing bottom half of the table. That's what they are. They're 2 injuries. Yeah, Jesus and Partey are out. To be fair, just Jesus was out. They're stuffed.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to really get many goals out of Eddie and Nketiah, let's be honest. But having said that, yeah, not a derby day to remember for United. But is this a bit of a wake-up call to certain fans who are talking a bit too crazy after 4 wins in a row? Where you're thinking, wait a minute, yes, we've been good, but we're nowhere near.
It just proves that. Oh yeah, McTominay's been great playing against, Arsenal. Lesser teams, not lesser teams. Sorry, but he's good at playing against certain. He's good at playing against certain teams, but City just nothing there, and he just got overrun. Eriksen. Maybe they should have just went with Fred and Casemiro to shore it up, and then rested Eriksen. But yeah, I've not said we're going to win the league. I've never said United are going to win the league because we're nowhere near. But there is changes there. But
I'm not going to lie. If you were to say United win the league, you'd have to be sectioned.
Yeah, there's people are saying it. People are saying that they're up there. They're going to be, top 4 easy and stuff like that. We might sneak into the top 4.
I've got evidence. I've got evidence, man. I've got evidence of a United fan saying it.
Yeah.
No, I believe you. They sound like Arsenal fans saying that.
I just think Arsenal fans are just guys, doing me head in. I hate Arsenal as it is, but they are absolutely doing me head in. Everything you say, they come back. It's like you lost to a team that got absolutely mullered by City, and you're still saying, "Yeah, we're going to win this." You can't even beat United, for fuck's sake.
Munzi, let them enjoy their time. They enjoy their time.
Right. Munzi, Rich has a question for you. Does Ten Hag not rate Casemiro?
I just think that when Casemiro come in, he didn't look fit, and then McTominay's been playing so well. You can't. End of the day, Ten Hag's doing what I always wanted him to, managers to do. If you're playing well, you play. Yeah. Now they've not played well. The next game, he needs to pull McTominay, maybe Eriksen as well, maybe Bruno. I don't know, but pull them and say, right, you're not playing good enough. Get someone else in. Now he's still got Van der Beek sitting on the bench doing nothing. But I think he'll be playing next game. We've got Everton away. I think he'll be definitely playing next game.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Casemiro wasn't starting because this kind of game would be perfect for him. He's played in the pressure cooker environment of the El Clasico, so you'd think, right, with this being the Manchester derby, everything that's on at stake now, because obviously it's no longer United against Little City, huh?
You wanted to do this, your stuff. Sorry, go on. Sorry, sorry.
No, you're cool. You're cool. No, I was just saying, you'd argue if you want a player to make a big impact in one of the biggest games of United's season, Casemiro's played in El Clasico, played in umpteen Champions League finals. So, granted, you might argue he's not fully fit or whatever, but I won't lie, I was surprised he wasn't starting. I seen it was 4-0.
But then you could say that with Ronaldo, though, couldn't you? Ronaldo's not turned up all year. You could say that with Ronaldo, couldn't you?
You can't
Ronaldo's
say
not
that
turned
about
up. He
Ronaldo.
played in finals.
What do you mean he's not? What do you mean Ronaldo's not turned up? He was your top goal scorer last season.
Who was Ronaldo? Was
Man
yeah.
United fans. Yeah,
Ronaldo.
these Man United fans. Oh yeah, Ronaldo was. Yeah, I think Ronaldo should have started because Rashford wasn't fit. Rashford was not fit. You could quite clearly tell. What did Rashford do in the game? Does anybody know?
He blew out. He blew out quickly.
He took the corner. He took
nothing.
He took the centre kick quite a few times, 4 times. When we was 4-0 down.
That's why you played Ronaldo. Right. You've got. I think Ten Hag made a mistake. He set them up wrong. You're playing open football against Pep. I bet when Pep saw United on the pitch and he just thought, this is going to be interesting. It's nice and open, plenty of space for my players to do whatever they want to do. And did you see how fluid Haaland was and Foden was? It was unbelievable. At 2-0, Nate, what you start doing is you start kicking them a little bit. It's, a few fouls here and there. And that's what you do. But these guys, I'll be honest with you, the United players, some of them, they don't know the basics. McTominay, no basics. Sancho, drop back. What did Sancho do today? Nothing. The guy did nothing.
Right, moving on, because I don't want to put Munsey through any more pain, because we discussed that. Let's talk about Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa, because the pressure is mounting on him now. Obviously,
what score was it? What score was it? It
was 0-0.
Oh, right, okay.
And you're looking at that now and thinking, okay, he got a point, but that's a game Villa should be winning. But before we continue, just quickly from Statman Danny, he's saying, big up lads. And he's saying McTominay is a terrible footballer. I'm not even sure he'd get into our team. With our injuries at the moment, I'd put him at the back.
You can't. Everyone slates McTominay. You can't say that. The last 4 games, he's been the reason why we won. Can't say that. Everyone slates McTominay, but yeah, today was awful. But I think there was a few more that weren't great as well.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I don't think he was as bad as some people make out. But you know how it is with agendas, Munsey. People are going to have their view. But Steven Gerrard, it's not quite going well for him, is it? Because he spent a bit of money in the summer,
Well, you look at Bruno Lage. He's just been sacked. I can't see why they've sacked him and why Gerrard's still in. Because they haven't done no better, have they, really?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. When we played them in August, they started off well, but the second that we got the equalizer, they just completely fell apart. And it was like, okay, wow. I didn't realize they were that scared of actually playing a bit of football. I don't know if he's cut out for it long term, because if Villa get relegated for a second time in the Prem, it could be curtains. It's mad. But I'm looking at the players they have, and they've got some quality players in there. They've got John McGinn, Ollie Watkins, Coutinho, who else? Buendia, Leon Bailey. There's players there that would do bits for them, but
his job is protected. His job, they will not talk about him because there's too many others to talk about. Listen, let's be honest. If Vieira loses the next 2 games and Gerrard loses the next 4 games, who do you think is going to be talked about?
Oh, listen, 100%. But you got to remember, Villa have infinitely more money than Palace, so there should be more pressure on Gerrard. Because bear in mind, Villa are a bigger club than us.
There's no pressure because they're not talking about him. They're just saying, Stevie's doing well. That's all it is. That's all he's... Look, Frank Lampard's the one that's doing the better job because he's got next to nothing at Everton. and he looks like the better coach at the moment. But Stevie G's, there's no pressure on him because he's just like, well, we'll be all right. We'll just we'll try and do what we can. Aston Villa's target should be top 10, and then next year should be trying to break into that top 7. They've I don't think they've spent as much as Newcastle, but they're not far from it though. So I just think when you look at the agenda and look at who his friends are, I think ultimately that's what'll keep him in a job. But Villa fans, I'm surprised that Villa fans are not saying anything. There's no outrage. This guy is not producing the goods. It was a good game. I've seen some highlights. It looks like it was a good game, and I'm happy that Leeds got a draw because I'm from Yorkshire. I want all the Yorkshire clubs to go in the Prem. But ultimately, when your opposition is down to 10 men and you can't take advantage of that, it says a lot.
I mean, I'm happy that Sinistera won't be playing against us because we have Leeds on Saturday, so it's good that he'll be suspended. But there was one game I wanted to talk about. Let me just quickly try and find it again, because this is a big win for West Ham 2-0 against Wolves. Obviously, Bruno Lage has been sacked, as was announced today, but West Ham needed this big time because they've been struggling.
Yeah,
what do you reckon?
True. I think he's because of the amount of players he's brought in, and he spent a bit of money. It was always going to go slow, I think. But the problem is I don't think they were expecting it to go this slow. Now, Moisey, from looking at West Ham, Moisey looks like is he looking to change the style of West Ham United from hard working to more attacking football because Bowen hasn't had a good start to the season up until that game, I would say. And the new signing squad as well, that John Lucas Kamaka. So I think he's under pressure, but we'll have to wait and see because West Ham have done well under Moisey over the past 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
their remit is to try and break into those European places because they've done it on a consistent basis, even if it's Europa League conference. It's a top 7, top 8 finish.
You got to remember they need to get European football as often as possible because of the London Stadium, because they're still paying rent on the stadium for the whole time they're there. So, it's imperative for West Ham to be competing at the top end of the table. But let's move on quickly to some of the other games. Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. I mean, I kind of saw this coming. I think I did predict I did predict a draw. I just didn't get the correct scoreline. So I'm happy enough to get a point on the predictions league. But 0-0. Nothing to write home about. I don't know how this game panned out, but the scoreline pretty much tells you that neither side really had enough to break the other one down. Newcastle, though, they are they're moving about their business quietly there, but a 4-1 win away at Fulham, that's a solid result.
Yeah, Chalobah got sent off for a nasty challenge on Longstaff. It was red. And
that was Chalobah, wasn't it?
Yeah, so unfortunately for Fulham, going down to 10, they just had to take the L. Listen, Newcastle look like a problem. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of teams are gonna when they go up to St. James's Park or what do they call it, the Sports Direct Arena or whatever.
No, yeah, St. James's Park, but we've already been there and nabbed a point with the help of VAR. So you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what? We
obviously
that game out of the way. That's all we need.
You've got the experience and like it's not an easy. They've got some very good, very very good players. So I think when the top six clubs go visit Newcastle United, it's going to be a tough game. United go there in a couple of weeks, from what I can see of Newcastle's fixture lists, and then they've got Everton coming up as well. So you know what, Newcastle could break that top 7. This year. It's like
I hope they do.
because if they buy in January, and they keep this good form going, they can't do because they've got Brentford next week, and they're at home, and I expect them to beat Brentford.
Oh,
they'll slap them.
They'll slap Brentford.
So
No problem.
slap them. So
No, come on, like
yeah, they're a
look,
problem. They're a problem.
Brentford are a decent side, but Newcastle are just way too much quality up top.
Yeah, at home, yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Part of me was really peed off at this result, and part of me was impressed. Liverpool 3, Brighton and Hove Albion 3. Now, obviously, a lot of people were wondering how would Roberto De Zerbi do since Graham Potter's now at your boys. But I can't lie, Liverpool looked shook. I was like, what's going on? 2-0 down. I even messaged a friend of mine who's a big Liverpool fan, and he was like, oh, we're trash. Like, it was bad enough drawing with Palace and Fulham, but now we're drawing with Brighton. And I'm like, yeah, but, you know, this is what happens when you don't invest year in, year out. People can look at it and say Liverpool did the best to draw blood from what they had. But now you're looking at it and you're thinking, conceding 3 goals at home to Brighton. And big up to Leandro Trossard, by the way. Hell of a hat-trick to get for him. So big up to him, much as it kills me to see them do well. But Liverpool could be in a bit of an awkward spot here.
100%. There's Nate, the problems at Liverpool stem from when Lallana went. When Lallana went, they didn't replace him. They've let one Yaldum go. They've not replaced him. So it's all right buying these midfielders like Oxlade-Chamberlain over the years, like Naby Keita, who I think is a fantastic player, but he's never fit. Because of that Klopp system, they need dogs in the midfield. The midfield's not good enough anymore. Plus, the lack of competition for Virgil van Dijk, um, what's the left back called again? Robertson and Trent. I think as a result of that, it's causing a lot of issues. It needs Nate. They need a reboot, and I'm not joking. They might need 4 or 5.
They need they need a strong
yeah.
reboot. But Hanif,
And do you know
Hanif,
Sorry,
you brought up Adam Lallana. Do you know who he plays for now? Brighton and Hove Albion.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, I know that. It's
I,
and he's still
that.
decent.
That's just
Because what I will say is this: Liverpool are pinning their hopes, on that lad Bellingham. Now, firstly, you do understand that every big club's going to be going for Bellingham. Every big club,
100%.
and I think Man City are going to be favourites, in my opinion.
No, you know what? I think you could get him. To be honest, I think Chelsea could get him.
We'll have to wait and see. But ultimately, if Liverpool think that they're going to spend 75 ATMs next year, they need to be spending 200 million. I'm not joking. They might not finish top 4, this year, if they don't get it right.
You know what? I won't lie, Hanif. That's a very strong possibility because I remember I was saying to a Liverpool supporting friend of mine, I said to him, listen, you've done well with the players you have, but like Mane goes, everything's going to collapse. And lo and behold, Mane's not there to bail them out against the so-called lesser teams. And we saw what happened today. But we got somebody here from Forever Football. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, mate?
It's all good, mate. How you doing, Chow?
I'm not bad, mate. Glad that we won on Saturday. Like I said, try and get our lead to as quick as possible. But yeah, some interesting stuff in the Premier League this weekend. United, yeah, that's funny.
Sorry, yeah, we've addressed that. I don't want the United fans attacking us in the comments, so let's just swerve to Manchester Derby for the moment because we're going to quickly touch on the North London Derby.
That's the next set of fans I was going for, Tottenham fans.
I'm not going to lie. Part of me was impressed at how well Arsenal played. I'm still not overly convinced that Arsenal are title contenders, but they definitely look far closer to it than they have done for about 10, 12 years now. This is the closest I've seen them be actually half decent.
Yeah.
But having said that, Emerson Royale, more like Chicken Royale. What are you doing, mate? You donkey.
Mate, Emerson Royale turned into a real peasant.
No, brother, he was just a Chicken Royale. Shout out Burger King. But Dan's giving you a shout out there, Chow.
Hey. Oh, man. I don't know what Emerson was thinking about this weekend.
Rich says Liverpool have not got a re-up on their asthma pumps. Mad thing. But,
no, fair play to Arsenal on the weekend. I think they've got all the credentials to be up there this year. I wouldn't think
They're-
they'd be title
They're top,
contenders.
well, they're top 3 contenders, but they're not title contenders, is what I would say.
No, I'd to be honest with you, I wouldn't rule out Arsenal finishing second.
That's what I'm saying. They're top 3 contenders, but they're not title contenders.
No, I think they'll give it a good go, but I think City will still be clear by at least a few points, just because of the way they're playing every single game and the way that Haaland's scoring at the minute. It's just going to be total mayhem with Haaland on the pitch right now. But as soon as Haaland gets injured, let's see if the cracks start to show. I'm waiting to see if Haaland picks up an injury at City, because if that happens, I want to see the rest of the squad pick up like they have done in previous years when big players have been injured. Because we saw a couple of seasons ago when Norwich was there and City had those injuries to their defence, and Norwich, got the win against them. And we saw that City can have terrible starts, but then pick up again and win titles. They've started well. If there's an injury to like a Haaland, and maybe one or two others as well, let's see how the team sort of revolves around that. And, I'm not talking about like an 8-month injury to Haaland or stuff like that. I'm talking even something as simple as 2 or 3 months, even something like that could be a restructure for the squad and how they sort of pick up from that and go again, because it seems like all the teams getting involved in the play. Haaland's obviously the main sort of focus of the feed, but you've also got the other players around him. You've got your Fodens, you've got your Silvers, you've got all these different players around him, De Bruyne. Let's see what happens when that focal feed gets an injury. I don't wish it on him, but I want to see what happens, because I want to see how the team picks it up around them, because they haven't got Gabriel Jesus now to fill that void if Haaland gets injured now. So I want to see what happens when they have that major injury to their major striker.
Aaron, you've got to remember they do have Julian Alvarez, so they have prepared.
They
for
do.
That.
They do. They've got a really good young up and coming talent, and I want to see what Alvarez can do. And I think he's proved he's a really good potential talent. So I really want to see what he can do on a week to week basis if Haaland gets that major injury. I'm not saying it will, but if he does,
just 1 second there, Chad. I'm going to read this comment. So Dan says, "Don't think Liverpool have bought well in recent seasons. Like Hanifa said, they've let people go and not bought right like City have, and it shows." I mean, look, they're still playing 36, 37-year-old James Milner. Now, that's remarkable consistency from James Milner, 100%. But it's saying a lot that you're bringing out a 36-year-old James Milner to play in midfield, to play at right back, to play at left back. He may as well be playing at centre back at some point.
There's only one answer, and it has 3 letters: FSG.
Well,
the fans are not happy. The fans are not, honestly, Nate, it's getting to a stage where the fans are not happy because I think Klopp came out, I don't know when it was it before the season started or as the season started, and said, we've got money. He said something along those lines. There is money available. Now, ultimately, when you look at Liverpool at the moment, they did not need a striker because they bought Diaz. They bought Diaz in, you let Mane go, and you go and get yourself a couple of midfielders for that 80 million or whatever they're going to pay for him. That's what they should have done, but they didn't do that. And I think it's bitten Klopp on the backside because he thought this team is going to go again. But the thing is, everybody else has caught up. The guy who he needs to go and buy is Trossard. Trossard's the player he needs in his team.
To be fair,
because he's the midfielder that
no
he needs.
offense to Brighton. Yeah, no offense to Brighton. I think Trossard will work really well in that kind of team. But the main thing with me is, and again, this is the same owner that's...
1 second, Aaron. I'm just going to say this. 1 second. Anything that facilitates the downfall of Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club, I hope they get raided. Now, football bias put aside, go continue.
No, that's what I was thinking. It's like, look at who they brought in look at who they sold first of all. They got rid of some of their sort of fringe players, shall we say, like your Ben Davies, your Minamino,
Origi,
Origi, Karius. But then what they did was they got rid of one of their big talents. They got rid of Mane. I think we knew deep down that one of the big names was going to go in that window. We didn't know whether it was Mane, Salah, or Firmino, but we knew from a certain point it was going to be Mane. What Liverpool should have done was utilise the money from Mane, utilise the money from the fringe players, and you bring in, like you said, Hanif, those couple of midfielders, those players that are going to be your long-term replacements for your Caters, your Thiagos, your Hendersons, and your Milners. So it looks like Chamberlain as well. Don't know why he's still there. No offense to him, but he needs to move somewhere. But look at the window. Look at the people that you could have brought in, and look at the midfielders. You got a vast array of talent right there that were there for the taking if you put the right money on the table. Unfortunately, FSG didn't do that and didn't give Klopp that backing in the window. What did they do? They brought in a young attacking player who, look, don't get me wrong, great potential. I've seen him play in the Championship. Fabio Carvalho's got great potential. They brought in Calvin Ramsey.
They've got Harvey Elliott as well from their academy. He's not ready. That's the
Harvey
problem.
Elliott back from injury.
They
They brought
get
Elliott
Elliott
through
from
back from
Fulham.
injury.
I'm pretty sure they got Harvey Elliott from Fulham.
No, they got Carvalho from Fulham.
Carvalho.
No, and Harvey Elliott. I'm almost certain they got him from Fulham. I'm going to check it now just to make sure.
I've got it as well. He was on loan. No, actually, no. No, he came through the youth at QPR and Fulham and then got brought in 2019. And
Yeah,
then
that's
went
what I
on
was
loan to
thinking. I'm
Blackburn.
almost certain they signed him from Fulham.
Yeah, that was like, a couple of seasons ago. So, you've got potential talent there awaiting. You brought in Carvalho this window, and specifically this window, you're looking at Carvalho, who's a good future talent. Calvin Ramsey's a good young defender as well, a good young sort of fullback that can compete and give some competition to the fullback positions. And then you've got Darwin Núñez. Don't get me wrong, Núñez is a great talent, but did they need another striker? When you see Minamino going, when you see Origi going, you've got Firmino there already. I can get the signing from that standpoint where you need that depth in that position and that competition in that position. However, I feel like they should have also spent money in other positions that you needed the money to spend positions because, again, I'll say it now, look at the midfield. You got Katie, you got Thiago, you got Henderson, and you got Milner, you got Oxlade-Chamberlain, you got prime players getting on a bit now. Some of them getting on a bit now, including Milner, no offense. But you should have utilized that money to bring in that next generation of talent in the midfield. You should have utilized that to bring in that sort of 21 to 23, 24-year-olds that are going to be in that midfield for the next few years and sort of build you on going forward. And I'll say it now, actually, and I think there was evidence of that this season so far. I think they should have invested in another centre-back. And the reason why is because I don't believe that Matip and Van Dijk together. I think Van Dijk is still a wonderful defender, one of the best defenders in the league for sure. But I feel like having that younger partner with world-class potential next to Van Dijk would have been a perfect signing. I feel like FSG could have come out and splashed the money. However, I believe they didn't choose to do that. Do I think it was the right decision? No. I feel like they should have backed Klopp with that. I think they should have backed Klopp with that younger midfielder and younger centre back with world class potential to evolve that squad. It's kind of like what Fergie did with United. You got those prime players, you got those experienced players, but then you also brought in the youth. You also brought in the next generation, whether it's through the academy or by transfer. You brought them up, but they weren't at a stage where they were a few years away. No, this was youth that was a couple of years away and could fit in when needed. So for me, they should have brought in those couple of younger players in those specific positions in the midfield and the central defence that could partner a Van Dijk, that could partner a Thiago and a Henderson and a Keita to give them that experience next to him, but also be allowed to show the creative freedom in the way Klopp plays. So you got a really good potential there to bring that through. In my opinion, Carvalho's a future signing, Ramsey's a future signing, Núñez could be great for competition, but they didn't have that world-class future talent for the next few years evolve with that experience. And that's why I think FSG screw up in the market. And that's why I think at the moment, whether Klopp's going up by the end of the season or not, I think Klopp may end up paying the price for it.
Okay. Just quickly, Dan says, I think Liverpool were let down by not getting Tchouaméni, but realistically, they should have gone in for a couple of players like that a season or two ago to bed them in.
He went to Real Madrid. That's what happened.
No, I hear that, but what Dan's saying is that Liverpool should have been on the ball and just paid the money. Because FSG
they don't want to because they've spent 80 million on that guy.
No, Hanif, I hear that, but what I'm saying is that's what Liverpool should have done.
Yeah,
they chose not to. Vibes is saying Haaland needs to pee off the cyborg, and he says he's not looking good, Brev. Well, you know what, Hanif, you know what, Vibes, just for you, We're going to bring that back. Where is it? I seen it here a minute ago. I could have. Where is it again?
You've ruined it, Nate. You've absolutely ruined the moment.
No, there's so many different things here. I'm trying to find it.
Big man thing, yeah. It's not looking good, Bev. It's not looking good.
There we go.
Just to add as well, by the way, statistically, this is the first season Liverpool's had without Sadio Mane since Leicester won the Premier League, that 2015-2016 season. And it's also the first season Liverpool's been without Origi since 2014-15, and this is the year before. So I feel like Liverpool had that time to prep. I feel like they've had that year or two to prep, just in case the money came in. And look at Mane now. He's flourishing at Bayern Munich. He's absolutely flourishing. And Divock Origi at AC Milan, he's had his moments. But I feel like Liverpool's not really prepared for after that. But I tell you who does need to prepare. Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah, we've addressed that, but look, we'll quickly touch on a couple more games because I don't want to be here all night.
I mean, I'll come on a future stream and talk about who I think Wolves' next manager should be, but I've got a couple of names in mind already.
Okay, so let's quickly touch on Southampton 1, Everton 2. I'm not going to lie, my predictions this week have been much better than the results for my club because I backed Everton to win 2-1, and lo and behold, my prediction held true. So that's 3 massive points in the prediction league going my way. Big win for Everton here. Goals from Conor Cody and Dwight McNeil pretty much automatically after each other. And Joe Aribo got the first goal of the game.
Nick, can I just come in on that? People need to be watching Iwobi in midfield, you know. He looks good, you know.
I think Iwobi's starting to get back.
Yeah, Nate, I'm telling you, yeah. You need to watch Everton and Iwobi in the middle. Oh my God, he's really good.
The weird thing is about Alex Iwobi, and I've sort of, I've known this guy as a player on the pitch for a few years now, and I've seen this guy play when he was a youth. He had that potential, but then I think during the Wenger years and the Unai Emery stuff, I think he sort of fell under the radar, and then he's had that sort of barren spot. I think Everton had a really poor season last time, and I think that's where he fell under the radar. But I think we're now starting to see signs of the potential Alex Iwobi had a few years back. I think we're now starting to see that flourish back again. If we can keep it consistent, then there'll be more conversations about Alex Iwobi. But as you were saying, Nate, I think it's a great win for Frank Lampard. I think it's a great confidence booster. They're 11th now, and they can keep building on that. And I think if Everton can try and get into the top 10 this year, then that would be a better. Well, obviously it's a better season than last season, but I think you can start to see a bit more progression in Everton when you get in that top 10. From a Southampton point of view, I might be second guessing it here, but I think they could be the next team starting to feel the pressure with the manager. And, I've got nothing against Ralph Hasenhüttl. I know he's trying to build something there, and I know he's been building something for the last couple of years at Southampton. But I think the time's now where I think pressure needs to start for Ralph. If he doesn't start picking up results, Southampton could be one of the next clubs to start looking at new managers. And that's, again, like I said, nothing against Ralph, but I just don't feel like the project's working at the moment. And Southampton, like Leicester City, Southampton cannot risk a relegation to the Championship because look at them, look at the wages, look at the amount of money they're paying their players. Off the pitch, it could be absolutely damaging for the new owners. So they've got to look at it now and say, can they move forward? Can they get out of this situation with Hasenhüttl still in charge? If the next couple of defeats start coming the way and Southampton drop inside that relegation zone, maybe with Wolves at the expense of Nottingham Forest, Southampton could be in trouble, not just from a on-pitch standpoint, but I think the manager's job could be in jeopardy in the next couple of games if things start to go downhill again. Same with Wolves. Like I said, I think those two clubs are the ones I'm watching out for in terms of they are in trouble.
So that pretty much touches up on most of the games in the Premier League, but we'll quickly touch on the East Midlands derby tomorrow night, Monday Night Football. Leicester City versus Nottingham Forest. Both of these sides are in desperate need of a win. Remarkably, Leicester have only got 1 point this season. I mean, obviously they lost Kasper Schmeichel and a whole other group of players. We were looking at Boubakary Samari actually in the summer. We could have done with him yesterday, to be honest, because our lack of options in midfield is a bit of a concern. But I won't lie. I think I've backed Forest to win this game, but
Me too.
I don't know because see, Forest flatter to deceive. They look good on paper, but they've got a couple of players where Dean Henderson, yeah, good solid goalkeeper. Wayne Hennessy, less said about him the better.
I think Hennessy's positive is that he's got experience. That's the positive with Hennessy. He's got experience.
Yes, but the experience he has is dropping clangers. I should
Yeah,
know.
that's the unfortunate bit.
For 6-7 years, but I know what you're trying to say, Chow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Hanif, surely Brendan Rodgers cannot last another match week without getting sacked. I mean, come now. Like, it's one thing to have a bit of disarray, but how is he still in a job? If this was the era, he'd be
I
sacked.
might start creating a bounty chart and see how many days it's going to last. Like a little Brendan
I think the
Rodgers
problem.
bounty.
I think the problem is the ownership. They're not forward thinking. They've probably not got anyone lined up, and they probably believe in Brendan Rodgers still. You have to remember. Look, since last season, Brendan's been told he has to sell, and he's not even been able to like buy anyone in the summer because as a result of high wages, they're in debt and they're in trouble. So I think it kind of highlighted itself when they sold Kasper Schmeichel for $1 million. I was shocked. I'm like, what? And that kind of told you everything you needed to know that Leicester are in trouble and they're looking to survive this season and then they'll see what happens next season. I think Brendan Rodgers is very fortunate that he's not been relieved of his duties, but I just don't think they've got anyone who can come in and do a job with the players that he's got at his disposal. I think what Brendan Rodgers' problem is he plays open football too many times. He needs to keep it more compact and just play on the counter because the team is just not that good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, I will say this because the eagle-eyed football contingent I'll go into the Leicester game on the 15th of October. Sack him after we play him. I don't want that new manager bounce curse hitting us again like it hit us yesterday. Because of course, Graham Potter's first win as Chelsea boss came against who? Aha. Of course it does. Because, what's that? We're playing Palace next time to change the manager. But now, look, Forest there needs to be a winner in this. I'll back Forest at 2-0. But I'm not confident on that because, like I said, Forest flatter to deceive. They look good, but haven't really seen too much of them to say, yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, Brennan Johnson, I was kind of hoping he'd rip it up in the Prem. Granted, he is still a young man. Can't really expect him to bear the weight of the club on his shoulders. But it is good to see Forest back in the Prem. Don't get me wrong. But why do I get the feeling this is going to be a dead rubber 0-0 East Midlands derby where they hype it up to hell on Sky Sports, having spoken about Man City for 2 hours on Sky Sports before they even talk about the game on Monday night? It's like, you do realize City played yesterday, right? Can we get to the game you're broadcasting?
Yeah, it's typical media, and this is an industry I want to get into. I know it's typical. Look, I backed Forest same as you, mate, and pure and simply the reason why. And look, I get your point, Hanif, about Leicester and that in trouble and stuff like that. The Schmeichel thing for $1 million, I didn't get that either. But I will say this, I wouldn't look too much on the ownership. And the reason why is because I think that ownership fell in love with the city when they bought the club. You could tell they wanted to buy into the club. They could tell they wanted to invest in the club. Obviously, there was the unfortunate incident with Vichai years ago. And, RIP to Vichai. We still remember him to this day. His legacy is never forgotten at this club. And look, I think it's not that they're not forward thinking, the ownership. I think they're just trying to do the best they can do. And I think the only explanation I've got as to why Rodgers is still here is because the board have so much faith in one man. They are, I guess, sort of, because Rodgers sort of brought them back from that mid-table kind of status to, back in contention for the Champions League and back into Europe. And, then they sort of fell off past year or so and bottled the Champions League, obviously, a year or so ago. I think, the time has come that Rodgers needs to go. When you look at the options that are in the odds, I mean, Ruben Amorim, he'll be going to Wolves, in my opinion, because that whole sporting connection. You look at some of the other names on there: Claude Puel, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Rafa Benitez. None of those names kind of strike me as favourites. It's hard. There's not a lot of options out there that could do the job with the play. He said with the players he's got. I think some of those players aren't good enough. Some of those players aren't playing to the standard that they're expecting, and I think that's a fair statement to make. But if I was Brandon, I'd be lucky because on the one hand, like I said, there's not many people out there that could do the job at the moment. But on the other hand, you're sort of thinking, hang on a second, you've still got Rodgers out there who can do something with this squad. It's just a case of can the players start playing for the man? So for me personally, I get it and don't get it at the same time. I'm kind of on the fence on this one with Rodgers. But from a Forest standpoint, I think that Steve Cooper's still yet to get this team out of second gear. I think that's the case with Forest. I think that they're just settling into life in the Premier League. They're eyeing up the opponents, seeing where they are. They've got whatever points they've got out of it so far. They're like, okay, Steve Cooper's going to look at the Leicester game thinking, right, they're bottom of the league, but they've still got a quality squad. Let's kick it up a gear and let's actually get a win out of this one. And that's probably why I back Forest in this one tomorrow night. I think that Forest will probably win by 2. I won't be surprised if it's 3-0, but I'd go with a 2-0. Pure and simply because I think Forest will dominate the game because I think Leicester have just got barely any confidence. And whether this is the result that pushes Brendan out the door, I think it could be, especially in a derby. You know, if you lose a derby, if you get dominated in a derby and only lose by a couple of goals, you know, no one can defend that. So...
Sorry, Chad, just 1 second there. Sorry, Chad, to cut you. People, if you want to have your say, I'm going to be wrapping up shortly. So if you want to jump in and have your say, click the link. It's there right now for you. So I just wanted to get that out there. Sorry, Chad. Thank you for being patient. Go ahead, mate.
Yeah, no worries, mate. But no, like I said, I think Rodgers will be very, very lucky to stay if he gets dominated in this derby tomorrow night. Like I said, I think Forest will have the opportunity now to kick it up a third gear, not because of Leicester's quality of squad, but because of where they are in the table. I think Forest will see that. They'll remember, they'll realize that there is still quality players in that squad that just haven't performed to their best yet, and they will not give them an inch to breathe. And the reason why is because I think Cooper will play that forward thinking. So I feel like, you know, like you said, Brendan Johnson's not ripped up the league yet, but you know, he's not Erling Haaland. He's not come from a big league, and he's not expected to come in and rip it up. He's come from the Championship. He's a homegrown boy. He loves the damn club, you know. And, you know, I do feel quite passionately about these two clubs. And the reason why is because of the history we've had with us. 2008, we narrowly missed out on automatic promotion to the Championship because Forest won and Cheltenham beat us. And Leicester City, you know, we always have ongoing banter with Leicester City because 9 years ago, Schmeichel caused a howler. And we won 1-0 out of it. So, you know, I've got this kind of history with the two clubs. And, you know, do I want to see Leicester doing well? Of course I do. But I think Leicester's in for a really, really tough year this year, especially if they keep Rodgers longer than they should be. But I think Forest will kick it up another gear. And I'm probably expecting them to probably edge this one. And in any other case, I think that's Rodgers gone for me. But I don't want this to be the end for Rodgers because he's a good manager.
Don't sack him until after the 15th of October.
No. But like I said, Rodgers is a good manager. He deserves another chance somewhere else to rebuild again. And in terms of who comes in next, like I said, Amrim's probably going to go to Wolves with the Sporting Portugal connection.
Well, I'm going to say this, Aaron. Roy Hodgson, Sam Allardyce, Frank de Boer, all available. Leicester, have at it. But people, I'm pretty sure that's it, unless somebody wants to jump in right at the last second.
I just escaped being Brit by a Rochdale fan on Saturday.
Okay, well, that's kind of taking it a bit left, but bloody hell, what happened there?
So basically what happened was we were coming out of the game. We just won 2-1. Brilliant game, by the way. A bit scrappy. So we came down the left street and the Rochdale fans, little to our knowledge, was circling us through a shortcut and came in down the upward path that led to our street. So we went towards our coach. Rochdale fans came down towards us. The Rochdale fans, well, one of them then threw a brick and it hit one of our coach windows, or it was a rock or something. Tainted one of the windows. I think they got a second window on a different coach as well. Some of our fans tried starting on them. Police formed a bit of a line. One of our fans got batoned, but didn't really do anything. It was actually the Rochdale fans that caused all of it, from what I could see anyway. And I just managed to get on there before they could throw anything else in our direction. So bit lucky, but yeah, I think they were just. To be fair, I think I'm just adding Rochdale to the list of clubs that we've rattled this season purely and simply because we've shithoused them sometimes. So I think we've just added them to a list of many clubs that have been rattled by us this season. So yeah.
Can I just ask, Miss, what's the football like now? What's the football like at that in that league?
Funny actually, because someone put a clip on Twitter and said, "Show this to someone and say this is League Two football," and it was a moment when we went through on goal. The ball went to the goalkeeper. He miskicked it and sliced it a little bit. Miller was through on goal, took a first time shot, and it narrowly went wide. So I think that pretty much explains it. But no, it's a very very physical league, very very dog like league, and you know, I mean, put it this way: opening day at season against Bradford, Liam Ravenhill puts a reasonable tackle in and puts a double leg break into someone's leg. So it's a very physical league. You can get away with some stuff, but you can't get away with everything. So it's a very, very, very physical league now. But it has been for a few years, to be fair. So it's been very physical.
Yeah. Is there do you think the attendances have gone up in that league?
The
years.
In some places, yeah. I think some clubs have gone down purely and simply because of different reasons. I think Rochdale and Hartlepool probably explain from their point of view why. I think that our attendance has started to go up a bit more purely and simply because the team started, doing well in a different league. But, it's not the league we should be in anyway. But I think in some places, yeah, the attendance has gone up. Just some places it's sort of stalemated a bit. But it'll come. It'll come as soon as more money starts coming down to the lower leagues that it should be doing. We'll get the coverage we deserve.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I hope more people go and attend League One, League Two football because it's a lot more competitive.
Well, I'll come out with it straight. I'll come out with it straight. Premier League and Championship are just a hyped up League One and League Two.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far there, Chow, but right. With that being said, thank you very much to Hanif and to Aaron. So Hanif, give yourself a shout out there, mate. 1 second.
Yeah, thank you so much. Please can everyone subscribe to the channel. They're more or less on every other day. And if you want Nate to do anything silly, I'm sure he's accepting requests. But yeah, you can find me on Eagle Eye Football and whoever else wants me. So big up to everyone.
Cheeky bastard, but fair play. Ciao. Big up yourself, mate. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Challoner Official. It's my new Instagram. Twitter, Aaron_Challoner. TikTok at Aaron Challoner. We're on 11,000 likes on TikTok, so let's keep that up. You can find me on YouTube as well, Chal and Coast Chal, the theme park channel. And if you want to find me anywhere else, I am the media manager at Sheffield City Football Club. So if you want to check out Sheffield City Football Club, check out the socials. We want to try and get the club to the Football League as soon as possible. Let's go.
100%. Obviously, it's me, Eagle-Eyed Nate on Eagle-Eyed Football. Make sure you join us for a couple more shows we got coming up. Thanks for watching, people, and we're out.